Hey, welcome back to AI Chatter. It's been a couple weeks, a busy conference season. Marty and I are going to chat about the things we saw, the cool new stuff, some of the stuff that's maybe not so awesome. But join us for this episode. We'll be right back. Man, I'm out of practice, Marty. Like normally I'm right on it with it. I'm like, am I on? Do I start talking? Mitchell, help us out. You know, I feel like
Can't believe we're going to say this, but we miss Mitchell.
We miss Mitchell. We need him. We need him. Come on back, Mitchell. All right. So Marty, I think the folks they know us, right? I mean, but we're basically two former professors now doing data science. We did data science before data science was cool. Now we're doing data science when it is cool, and we're still,
doing data science.
Still nerdy as ever.
Yep.
Though we try to hide it. And one of the ways we hide it is we go to conferences now and see cool new stuff and what's neat, what's new. And so you paid more attention to the keynote than I did, but as far as tech. But what did you see? First off, what did you see, and then later we'll talk about what you thought.
So we were at the Snowflake Summit in San Francisco. It was last week, 3 days. I think upwards of 10 to 12,000 people there. Snowflake made probably about a dozen announcements of things that are either in preview or generally private available,
or general what I like
generally
to call
available.
double secret probation, like triple secret probation.
Yeah. And I think one of the coolest things from a data science standpoint, because Snowflake, arguably more for database people and data architects, but they're definitely making a huge play in the data science space, was their Cortex and their notebooks. Cortex been around for, I think, since the beginning of the year. It's been in private preview, and we've actually had some success with it on a couple projects. But the notebook thing, I think that was announced like the week before. And so they made it really public there. And I've been playing in it. It's been, at least for me, it's definitely it's almost like game changing. It's a pretty awesome
experience, right? I mean, that was one of the things that I've noticed, again, coming from a notebooking space. The Snowflake world was built for people that are used to DBA type work in that environment, and for that environment, it's wonderful. But for data science people, it's very clumsy, and so having access to an easy notebook, I think, is wonderful to lower the entry point for coding data scientists.
Absolutely. In the past, they'd introduced Snowpark. Gosh, it's been over a year. I think a couple years ago they announced it, and Snowpark really was what I would say is a SQL programmer's answer to data science. They forced you to do everything in user-defined functions, which is not simple if you're not a SQL coder. You don't think like that. And it involved a significant lift to get your data science workload into Snowpark. Now with notebooks, I mean, all kidding aside, everybody, I took an existing program I used in a Jupyter notebook. I copied cell by cell over. There's a couple little tricks. You got to be careful of data types, and Snowflake, everything is capitalized for column headers. So, there's a couple little nitnoid things, but within an hour, you can take your code and transfer it over, and it completely works and is useful.
And where the Snowpark, I think for purposes of production, the Snowpark original UDF construct was fine.
Absolutely.
But for development, which is frankly where most of
where we live,
science, right? It's mostly hopefully failing fast, right?
Exactly.
And giving us a way, just a spot to do that work, frankly, without bringing any other additional technology in, is great.
And without moving the data. I mean, you're literally accessing data in a Snowflake table. The data never leaves the security, everything that the Snowflake environment gives you. I mean, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. But I got to say, Ken, notebooks were great, but the biggest announcement at Summit, which got the biggest round of applause, was, wait for it, dark mode.
I was well. Okay,
Were you in
so
the hall when they announced that? I thought
yeah,
I thought like
I mean,
Biden was walking out on stage or something like that. I mean, it was unbelievable.
it's so funny the dark mode, light mode thing, the nonsense. I mean, so there was, for those of you uninitiated in the content, the struggles in the current data science data marketplace, right? Is that there was there was Databricks. It was well known that Databricks was the next conference to be held, right, in that environment. Marty, did you freeze up on me, or did I freeze up on you? Or you're smiling. He's coming. Anyway, so I was talking about what was going on next week, and so Databricks was having their event, right? So Databricks' original interface is that of notebooks, and it is dark mode by that's the way, I think, one of the ways it's often used, and so it kind of funny that people care about that stuff these days. I remember from my time at SAS, and then I worked with Stata as well. That was always like a thing. Nerds love to change the font and change the. Let's see. While Marty's coming back in here, I think he's gonna. He says his computer's auto updating. I'll carry the flag. Marty and I actually took a fun little trip around the hall, and I saw a number of vendors that I thought were cool. And among those vendors, I saw one called Zenlytics, and they really are doing a nice job in the generative BI space. So that is kind of like a new age version of a ThoughtSpot construct, where I ask questions of data and I get answers back. And that basically you kind of give everybody your own analyst. And so I think that company's very interesting in that space. Seek was there, another competitor in that space. The hat that I have on, Patterns AI or Patterns AI or IO, I'm not really sure. Also another one in that space that, frankly, I'd love to see Snowflake in that world, but they don't. Despite having all the data that they possibly could need, they're not building any sort of verticalized solutions. Something that touches the data that they actually have. Who knows? We can talk more about if Marty joins, we can talk more about on some of the leadership issues that I think Snowflake has right now. As far as other cool pieces of technology, one that I saw was called Row Zero. It's maybe not the sexiest construct, but basically Google Sheets and Excel Online have apparently a limitation of using your browser's computational and your computer's computational resources in the process of running these sheets online, and that causes spreadsheets that are not that big to crash. So Row Zero is basically an online one-for-one replacement with Excel. Then, because it's centralized, you get all the efficiencies associated with that centralization and sort of security related things. As far as other things that I thought that were pretty cool, I mean, a lot of it kind of like all lumps together. The classic data science vendors. Dataiku was there. We got to do some time in their booth, which was kind of them, and lots of nice conversations. Saw our Datarobot friends as well. Our booth at Archetype was right across from Domino, so I got to see what they were up to. And then a lot of data cataloging companies. A lot of hey, Marty, are y'all updated?
Yeah. Perfect timing for an automatic update. Let me tell you. I was talking about Snowflake. I guarantee it was the Databricks people. They're like, we're going to get him.
That's exactly. So I explained that the Databricks, the Databricks has got dark mode. I know for a while, so I think that's part of what they were after. But Snowflake does such a nice job with their marketing. They had all except for that weird skinny reindeer thing that that was. Or I like to call it the star of my nightmares for the remainder of my days. They had a really nice sort of was it circus themed? I don't know.
Yeah,
Almost like
after party Cirque du Soleil type thing with
event in a field, which was very nice. A park, I should
and a
call it.
pretty good cover band too.
A great cover band. Yeah, they didn't mess around and get like a, that was a legit cover. That was a fun cover band.
Yep.
I had a good time. Anyway, I talked about a little bit about our stroll through the hall.
Mhm.
I touched on Row Zero and I touched on Zenlytic. But you saw a couple, I think, one or two.
Yeah, I stopped by Nime, which is another data science platform. I, I thought, kind of a personal connection because the CEO, I think, grew up in the same town that my mom grew up in Germany, some tiny little town. So that was kind of funny to speak a little German with the guy. And but yeah, I mean, this was my initiation to Snowflake Summit. I was never at one of these before, and just amazed how many booths and vendors were there, between consultants, data privacy folks, or just data platform providers. Just a lot of variety. The space is rich, and there's a lot of good things coming out from people out there.
Yeah, and you jogged my memory on a couple more vendors that I talked to. The notebooking, I think, like this intersection between notebooks and dashboards is sort of really, people are betting. A lot of the little companies are betting on this. So Hex is there, Omni is there. There were 3 or 4 others that in that space. It feels, I mean, it's both crowded, but also, to me, a sign that the dashboard is, I don't know, maybe its days are numbered. Like we were just talking, Marty and I are working with a client, in the near future, and the dashboard is sort of their way to disseminate information, but it's not really.
They actually call it a model. They address their dashboards as models.
It's like, I could do this without a dashboard faster. Like like the fact that you want to force, like, I need a portal to put stuff in, and it just so happens that it has a dashboarding capabilities, but its ability to be a dashboard is not important, right? Like, I'm not going to do any of the calculations in it, right? I'm not going to preach you my data so that the person on the other end can look at it the way that I want them to look at it. I'm just going to give them a report, right? And so I think one of the values of Hex, Omni, to some extent, Patterns, or Zenlytic, is just like, I'm going to shove the information at you and not really worry about building out an analytical data set for you to then monkey with, right?
Well, I mean, think about your car. How many of us look at our dashboard for anything besides maybe speed, and maybe you look at the tachometer or the temperature gauge? Most people don't. They look at speed. They look at their phones now, because their phone is sitting right next to it, and it's giving you directions. And guess what? It tells you the speed too. So it's kind of like the dashboard in our car is even being evolved out.
Yeah. It's kind of like how the interaction. I mean, Apple this last week, and it's probably, maybe we'll talk about next week. Apple finally is integrating some AI, and they can claim that it's intentionally late, but it's not. It's because they lack the innovative sort of tendencies to do these kinds of things. But the first pass at this is just going to be kind of probably silly. It's going to be like swapping out Chat GPT and Siri. But really what it should be is, inside the app, driving behavior that makes me look at the screen less, not more, right? I think that's the challenge of the next round of this GPT, the generative AI craze, is building it into the process flow without us having to directly utilize it. Like, the interface to ChatGPT is cute to mess around, but it's not driving behavior. I mean, now I'm like, I ask it all the time, hey, can you make me a list of my things to do based on, my behaviors? And it can't do that because it doesn't have access to my behaviors. I want it to.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think Google's like, still, the Wall Street Journal's article that sort of said like this was a threat to Google. I don't think so. I think Google's got such an advance. So Marty, pretty soon I'm gonna be switching over to Android phone.
Come over to the dark side.
Yeah, I probably won't be hacking it. Anyway, so anything else you saw in the hall? If not, we'll kind of wrap and we can always save it for the next time.
No, that was really it. Sorry, I had to skip out on y'all, folks.
Anyway,
the IT gremlins got me.
So if you liked, if we can get more subscribers, then we can do this without Mitchell going forward. But I'm guessing we get more with Mitchell than without. So anyway, if you do like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.